Mike's an outstanding coach, and all I'm just proud that they got rewarded, and the team is playing at that level because he's got them coached up to play at that level, even though you realize that when you're not in those playoffs, and you can't get to the big one. But he's got this team. That's as good of emotional performance, effort performance as I've seen us have, and I don't know what to compare it to.
So the Cowboys win, but they get eliminated from the postseason yesterday. But that sounds like a man who wants to run the whole thing back, doesn't it, Stephen A?
Well, first of all, Shannon, just so we're clear, they got eliminated before the game.
Correct.
And they in there celebrating like they en route to the playoffs. This is the damn problem with the Cowboys. So you know what they're going to do. They're going to run it back. Now, me personally, I think with the bevy of injuries, I'm thinking like fine with the players. That's different. You know, with Mike McCarthy, I know he could coach, but you kind of need a new voice. But this is all it don't mean anything, Shannon. We know he's going to bring everybody back next year. That's how this looks.
Yeah. And you know what, Stephen A? As you said, they were eliminated before the game started. So guess what? It removed all expectations. You know how Stephen A, if you go to Vegas and you say, I'm playing with house money, it's easy to gamble when you playing with house money.
That's right.
But when you got to wager your own money, and it's your money, now that's a different story. And we saw all year long when the Cowboys had expectations, they went to bed. So nothing changed for me. Give them credit. They won a ball game last night. Tampa was playing really well. But when you move expectations, I'm not surprised. But guess what? Run it back. I'll get an opportunity. Give us material for next year, Stephen.
That's right.
So that way we know we don't have to just come up with stuff. The Cowboys going to give us great material.
We know they're allergic to
it.
prosperity. Merry Christmas, Cowboy fans. Merry Christmas.
Jerry Jones going on like that about
y'all still them boys
from the playoffs before the ball even kicked. Ridiculous.
Are you still them boys? That's a good question, Shannon.
Goodbye, everyone.
Y'all still
Enjoy
boys,
the holidays.
Still them boys. We them boys.
And you know well, coached from the years together at Arizona State. Listen, Washington hosting this thing is a little different. Yes, the Eagles crowd are back in the end zone. Jaden Daniels
on that play too.
5 passing touchdowns.
5.
Coach, okay, listen, Eagle fans, we hear you. You're hampered by the absence of Jalen Hurts. We get it. Just on the positive tip from the Washington side, what stood out to you?
The fact that they have a young quarterback. Think about this. Last year, they were a 4-13 football team. They are now 10-5.
Sure.
Entering the playoffs. They were scoring a minuscule 19 points. Now they're at 28 on offense.
28 a game.
28 a game.
Yeah. You got a shot. You got a shot.
Fourth highest scoring offense in the league with a rookie quarterback.
Think about Philly, though. You expected better from that defense. Daniels also led the team in rushing. He had 9 totes for plus 80 yards. Are you worried about this Eagles defense?
It was a bad day at the office for the Eagles defense.
Okay. As expected.
Yeah,
then.
well, you know, it's just one of those, it got going.
Okay.
And all of a sudden the Eagles found themselves in a bad way. Look, when you turn the ball over 5 times offensively, which Washington did, here's the problem. The Eagles never took advantage of all those turnovers.
Yeah.
They couldn't score enough points.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
5 turnovers, you should be able to score points. Quarterback's out. Starter. They got Kenny Pickett in. They used the running game, but they couldn't score enough touchdowns.
All right, so the Eagles lose ground in that NFC, in that mission to secure that 1 seed. Meanwhile, the Lions, they have it in their sight. They're trying to get some revenge after losing at home to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that was a scoring affair. So Dan Campbell on the road in Chicago at the break, coach. But the Lions weren't done. This was them sort of playing with their food.
How about this?
A fake fumble.
Here's what I don't understand. Why don't you save that play?
Sure. Okay.
For later on.
Interesting.
I mean, you know, I get it. They practice on it all week, but that's one you kind of, when you get in a tight football game, that you know you might need a little something, but they'll probably have some more trickery.
Because the Lions win. Here's Goff's explanation on that play.
First, it started on Monday with Ben asking me if he thought I could actually fumble on purpose and pick it back up. I was like, I don't know about that. And we kind of got off that pretty quickly. And we're like, let's just pretend I'm fumbling and I'm holding on to the ball. And I think the part that Gibbs where he dives really sells the play. You know, I'm only doing half of it. But, yeah, it worked. It worked like a charm and was nice to score there.
That's a great point, Coach, because now they go to San Francisco, they close out the season with Minnesota. You got to think maybe they might need that to secure the 1 seed. That being said, what's your biggest takeaway from this Lions
that
win?
they lose Montgomery.
Sure.
They have the one runner now in Gibbs. It was a two-headed monster with both those guys. Gibbs still ran for over 100 yards. They're still a running football team, but I thought Jared Goff did a nice job to set up the play-action passes with the run, and Gibbs did a nice job for him. He moved the chains. He's a physical runner. They didn't get away from who they are. They want to run the football. They want to press the line of scrimmage, make you commit to the 8th guys in the box, and then Jared Goff throws the ball down the field for big plays.
They have so many weapons.
It's sort of the NFC mirror image of what Buffalo is doing. We use that to sort of segue to the Bills, and the Bills were taking on the Patriots. And actually, the first time these two teams play each other, they're going to play twice over the span of 3 weeks, Coach. Josh Allen got hit on his throwing elbow right here. This is intercepted by Marte Mapu here. And there was something it was just a hitch in the get-along from Josh Allen coming up in the 4th quarter. Allen just his 6th interception of the season.
Where they're looking at the score going, wow, this is kind of close.
Only up 3, Coach. Oh! That's a backwards pass. Backwards pass to
that was a
Ramondre
big
Stevenson.
play there by the defense.
And the Bills covered up for a score. Allen would say about his hand, he goes, it just hit the funny bone nerve, lost some feeling in my hand, but pronounced himself all good. They've won 7 straight divisional games, 10 straight home games. I'm going to ask you this here. It's a team that is vying with Kansas City for the 1 seed in the AFC. That having been said, is this a case of just sort of playing down to your competition, or is there a little legitimate concern there in Buffalo?
No, playing down to your competition because we expect more out of Buffalo now. We've seen them the last 2 weeks prior to this. They were scoring 40 points. It's just like this turn. Now, their defense had to make some plays in this game, but you got to give the Patriots a lot of credit.
You called.
You know, they were a feisty group. I mean, they went in there and played and said, you know what, okay, and Buffalo looks up at the score and going, what's wrong with us right now?
Yeah.
You call Josh Allen, obviously, fantastic quarterback on his way to an MVP. You call him a football player, though, first. Okay, so what's the line? Because he's your franchise guy. Without him, you're not going to do anything. So on plays like that where you're taking unnecessary hits, what's the line between coaching him up as, hey, you need to protect yourself, or you got to let Josh Allen do his thing?
Well, you got to let him do his thing, but he has to understand this. When he's in the field of play and contact is about to arrive, he has to slide, protect himself. And you have to protect, I always told quarterbacks, when you're right-handed or left-handed, you protect your throwing arm. You always protect your throwing arm and your shoulder. You got to protect that when you go, just because at the end of the day, that's what you play with.
Yeah, but man, that ability to improvise makes him who he is. The Bills host the Jets on Sunday, then they close out the season with, again, a visit to the Patriots.
Taking a look at your Super Bowl favorites, the Chiefs, who've won 2 in a row, have ascended to the top. When it comes to the NFC, you're looking at Philadelphia and Detroit and Minnesota in there. And with that in mind, Bill Barnwell working on that rough draft for the column on ESPN.com tomorrow, focusing on these Super Bowl favorites and where there's a weakness where they could be exploited. We saw the Eagles lose a division game on the road. What concerns you most about the Eagles at this point?
Yeah, it's how their offense is really dependent on big plays. They're really good at getting them, but when they don't get them, they really seem to struggle. So in their victories this year, 5 plays of 20 yards or more on average, most of any offense in all of football. But in their 3 losses this year, just 7 total. And look at this game today. 3 big plays in the first half. They scored 21 points, 3 touchdowns. 0 in the second half. No touchdowns. The running game is held to 40 yards. The offense could not get going in the second half, had to kick field goals. So if you could place it to that, can stop those big plays from going off, the Eagles might not have the ability to kind of sustain stuff, drive after drive, play after play.
You and I were laughing in the break about the play calling of Detroit. I mean, they've got so many tricks in the bag that they're doing fake fall down plays. And by the way, they work, but they're 13-2 at the moment. They are on track to be the 1 seed. If there's a concern there for this very, very talented team beyond injuries, what is it?
The thing you might pick on there is the blitz dependency for Detroit. Once Aiden Hutchinson went down, they had to adjust. There's no one they could replace Aiden Hutchinson with. They did that by upping their blitz rate, 51% since that injury, most of anybody in football. But when you've seen them play quarterbacks who can beat the blitz, they've given up a lot of points. Jordan Love posted a 127 passer rating against them. The Packers scored 31 points. Bills 48 with Josh Allen posting a 138 passer rating. So if you get the blitz going against the Lions, that can be some trouble, and opposing quarterbacks can get plays there.
Minnesota just keeps on winning. They're 13-2. Tim was raving earlier about Sam Darnold. If you have a concern there with him, what is it?
It's a sack rate, 8.5%, 30th in the league. And that is a way to slow down this offense. When they have no sacks on a drive this year, they score touchdowns 31% of the time. But when they have at least one sack, that drops below 5%. They just have 2 touchdowns all season on drives where Sam Darnold has been sacked at least once. So we know he can make the big plays, but even today in this game where he hit that big touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, the play before, a sack was wiped